So I have waited quite some time to record this video simply because, one, I wanted to make sure that I was fully understanding the situation as it played out in real time. Two, I wanted to give myself time to reflect. Three, I wanted to be sure that I was effectively communicating my thoughts and opinions. So without further ado, I'm jumping into the video. Alissa Ashely is a content creator who I have been a fan of, following, subscribed to for years. She's a self-identified Black woman who does, acknowledge both sides of her identity because she is not fully Black. And I am going to circle back to this and explain why it does play a major part in a Black woman's response to Alissa's recent content. Now, long story short, because I'm sure that most of you who click on this video are well aware of the situation, but if you are not, here's a brief synopsis. Alissa in recent years has pivoted from makeup and lifestyle content to really just uploading wellness and specifically workout content. Now, at no time in this pivot did Alissa ever mention that she was making workout content and engaging with, we could say, gym culture because she was trying to lose and or gain weight. She simply felt that she had gotten to a point in her life where she was feeling the effects of not being as fit as she previously was. This is very important context that in most of the videos that I have watched on this situation has been left out. Now, this could be because most people who have been talking about the situation aren't actually or haven't been subscribed to Alissa for years like I have. But anyway, Alissa, used to be a very fit girl. She wasn't super into the gym, but she was smaller. And even when she got bigger and started gaining weight, she was still very fit, right? She has always, I know from watching her content for years, she's always been very vocal about keeping herself fit and keeping herself healthy as she sees healthy because it's her body. I cannot pinpoint a time where Alissa really ever came onto YouTube or any of her platforms and discussed wanting to get back into the gym because she wanted to get smaller, because she wanted to lose weight. Alissa, from the very first time she introduced this side of herself to all of us here on YouTube, it's always been about strength. I want to feel stronger. I want to feel stronger. I want to feel stronger, which is my personal ethos when it comes to working out in the gym. Of course, we all have our body goals. Of course, we are all, unfortunately, victims of body standards. Even the people who are creating the body standards are victims of body standards themselves, okay? So I like when people focus on the strengthening one's body and muscles and fitness and are less focused on losing, gaining weight, macros, micros, calories, because I don't care about all that stuff. Now, if you watched some of my previous videos, you all should by now be noticing a trend about my content. I am here to uplift. I'm here to provide further context, but I'm also here to ask all of us Black women, because I am a Black woman, so I am always speaking to Black women first and foremost, to be a bit more self-interrogative when it comes to the content that we are consuming and engaging with. Do not engage with content that you don't like. Don't even speak on it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Now, if you'd like to offer a fair criticism because you actually do like the content, but you are seeing that, oopsies, maybe there are some things happening that are becoming harmful within the niche of content that you enjoy, by all means, say something. But I'm talking about content you outright 100% just don't like, don't enjoy, nothing about that fulfills you. Don't talk about it. So, this young person, because I'm not aware of their pronouns. So this young person decided to make a subtweet, right, about Alissa allegedly. The person never mentioned Alissa's name, but the person was liking tweets that were in response to their original tweet about it was like LOL, one of the OG makeup girlies rebranding as, like a fitness or like a gym person, playing into colorism, playing into fat phobia and all these things, trying to call out whoever this person was they were speaking about. Now, the person claims they were never talking about Alissa, but they were liking tweets in response to their tweet that said, LOL, is this about Alissa Ashely? Or LOL, yeah, I can't believe Alissa Ashely. So they seem to be in agreement with their own audience and members of their own platform that they were speaking about Alissa allegedly. Who knows? Okay, so Alissa then sees the tweet and Alissa responds, right? Then this person responds and a conversation ensues. On the screen, you will see the conversation. I am not reading through all their text messages because their conversation is not really what I want to talk about, nor are their responses to each other what I really want to focus on today. What I want to focus on today is why these things even happen in the first place. Why do Black women do this in the first place? Okay. Now, remember I said I was going to bring it back around the point of me mentioning that Alissa is a self-identified Black woman, but is not fully Black. Here's why this is important. The person responding to Alissa is a fully Black person, right? This person did call out Alissa's shade, her skin tone, and uses that as a weapon against her. And now, believe me, there are times when we do have to make note, right, of the skin tone and the ethnicity and the politics and all of those things about someone else when we are trying to drive a point forward, of course. This was a time where this is me, my feelings, thoughts, and opinions. This is a time where I felt that was totally unnecessary and didn't help drive the person's point home. If anything, it is the reason why I feel their points weren't being taken seriously. Now, here's the thing. I've made a video about parasocial relationships in the past when speaking about Mary Jane Byram and that whole scenario. If you are not familiar with the Mary Jane Byram scenario, please do review my videos about that and review all the other videos about it here on YouTube. Now, in that video, I spoke about parasocial relationships and why they really skew the way in which we operate, right, with people. Again, why do Black women even do this? Now, the person who was trying to allegedly call out Alissa has a fairly large platform themselves, right? They have a couple, thousands of followers, right? So they knew that their message would reach a substantial amount of people, meaning that they knew that their message could potentially reach the person that they are talking about. Alissa having a much larger following, of course, puts her in a position of more power than the person allegedly calling her out. Alissa's response, I felt, was very tasteful, displayed a lot of tact, and actually deep care for the person allegedly calling her out. What I find disappointing about what we do to each other intra-community is that you have two Black women. Once again, I'm going to keep driving this point home because I really want you guys to start getting comfortable with this language. You have two Black women, right? One woman who is a self-identified Black woman, but who acknowledges both sides of herself, being Black and Hispanic, right? But of course, she leans into, as much as we've seen publicly, leans into being Black or reading as Black. When it comes to Alissa and Arnell, I think the moment that they hit the scene, right, people always were kind of like, what are y'all? Like, what are you? I think most people at first assumed they were probably some type of Hispanic, you know what I'm saying, Latino. Please correct me about the terminology. I know that the way in which people from Spanish-speaking countries are identifying themselves has changed over the years. So please correct me if I'm wrong there about what I'm, saying. But you get what I'm saying. So people were always kind of like, what are they? But Alissa and her twin Arnell, always publicly, at least from what we can see, leaned into being Black and being read as Black. And that's important too. So, I think, of course, I think that plays into why the person who was allegedly calling Alissa out made the point to say, here I am, a fat Black, their words, here I am, a fat Black, person, and here you are, right, a lighter skinned, not really Black person, sicking your followers on me to attack me. But to be quite honest, Alissa didn't do that at all. And this is really what I say is the cage of YouTube. And I really want to know if we are being honest when we say that we want to see Black and brown women grow. When we say we want to see Black and brown women expand. Are we really being honest with ourselves? Because Alissa is expanding. Alissa has a photography page now, right, that she posts on every now and then. Alissa has since deleted, or at least archived. I don't know if she deleted them, but they're not visible anymore. Every single video from her YouTube channel, except for 2. And she has pretty much archived every single post on her Instagram, save for maybe like 12 or 15 posts. So it's very clear that Alissa does not really want to be associated with anything that she was doing prior to what she's doing now, which is fair. She's a human being. She's allowed to grow and evolve. But do we as viewers really want to see our content creators and our influencers grow and evolve? Or do we want to keep them locked inside these cages that fit within our narrative? So as long as we can relate to them, it's okay. But the moment that they step out of me being able to relate to them, it's no longer okay. I would not put it past this person who was allegedly calling Alissa out to actually be a subscriber of Alissa's content and maybe possibly previous to allegedly calling Alissa out, enjoyed Alissa's content. Again, why do Black women, people do this? Why do we do this? And I know it sounds tired when we go, white people don't do this to each other. Asian people don't do this to each other, especially, but they really don't. And I do think that we're going to keep also driving that point home, because why is it that we do it and it seems like nobody else does it, or at least somebody else does it in the way that we're doing it? Now, I do think that the person allegedly calling Alissa out actually could have had a very constructive conversation with their own audience and perhaps with Alissa herself, if that person had approached this conversation with, hey, I'm noticing that one of our OG makeup girlies has really gotten into fitness, and I think that's a great thing. Love to see the girls get fit and honor their bodies, but it does beg the question of how are we all responding to our ever-changing body standards, right? And what is that doing to the psyche of the Black and brown woman living in America? They could have gotten even more specific and gone, what is it doing to the Black and brown women living in California or just on the West Coast? What are the body standards there? What are the beauty standards there? Alissa is, I want to say, approaching her 30s now. Yeah, Alissa and Arnell, I think, just turned like 26 or 27. So they're approaching their 30s. Come on, y'all. Let's be honest. Come on, women. Let's be honest. We all know once we start looking 30 down, we're like, ooh, maybe it's time for me to tighten up. I'm finna be 30. Let me tighten things up. Let me get my legs together. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, let's talk about that. Let's talk about ageism. Let's talk about why Alissa even feels the need to have to publicly share her fitness journey, because she really could have just gone to the gym and called it a day. She never had to tell us. But what is her job, so to speak? She is a content creator. So, of course, one of the first thoughts in her mind when she starts this journey after she gets comfortable enough with herself in it is, oh, I should share this with people, right? Just from a pure business standpoint, take out all of the because I want to talk to my subscriber, build a family. Sure. But also, this makes you money. So, like, let's be clear. And that's fine, too. Do what you got to do to pay your bills. No one's going to judge you. But I just feel that when we have these opportunities to actually have conversations that really could advance us all, we fall short and instead just fall into the trap of picking on each other, bullying each other, and trying to stomp each other out to prove a point. And the parasocial relationship here is, like I said, this person, I would not be surprised if they were previously subscribed to Alissa and even enjoyed Alissa's content, and only found themselves becoming uncomfortable with Alissa's content because Alissa was engaging in behavior that they don't engage in themselves for whatever reason. But because Alissa does engage in this behavior and goes so hard in engaging in this behavior, and they do not, they no longer like Alissa's content, and maybe they no longer like Alissa, even though they don't know Alissa. So how could you not like Alissa? But you cannot like Alissa's actions. Two different things, right? So that is what I really felt that we were seeing on full display, just on a larger scale, because the person who was being called out here was Alissa Ashely, and Alissa has a very large platform. Now, I do think it was unfortunate that people who call themselves supporters, subscribers, fans, whatever, of Alissa felt it appropriate to reach out to this person who was allegedly calling Alissa out and spew hateful remarks. I don't condone that. Don't think that was cute. Don't think that was cool. But also that's not Alissa's fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, that Alissa cannot control the people who are subscribed to her, the people that follow her, the people that call themselves fans of her. That's why I really did appreciate how Alissa did respond to the person calling her out, allegedly. Because Alissa understood her audience, right? Alissa understood the reach she has. Alissa understood the power imbalance there. Because Alissa easily could have quote tweeted the person and been like, LOL, this sounds stupid, you're dumb. Like, Alissa could have, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, y'all, look at this person. Like, Alissa could have actually called her subscribers and followers on this person and, like, made people attack that person. But Alissa said, instead of doing that, I'm going to at least try to use this as not only a teachable moment for you, but a teachable moment for myself and a teachable moment for everybody else who was a part of my platform, who makes me having a platform possible. And that's what I would like to see more of. That's what I would like to see more of. That's why I even made that 2-part video about, you know, like biracial, light skin, whatever, like YouTube, because there are women on that side who identify as Black and who are doing the work of calling out behavior that is further trying to divide us all. When at the end of the day, there is only one group of people for real. Let's think about it. There's only one group of people for real who benefit from us engaging with each other in this way. And that group of people, it ain't Black folks. So, you know, I just want us to be patient with each other when we see these sort of interactions happening online. Alissa was really patient with the person who was allegedly calling her out. And I do feel that most of the people who were responding to that person were being quite patient with that person. I just wish that these interactions weren't happening, period. You know, like, when are we going to actually come to a consensus that we just don't engage with each other like that in public no more? We just don't do it. We're going to have our private conversations, or we can have public conversations that are actual teachable moments, and that are moments for growth, and that are moments that call for unity, and that are moments that call for patience, and moments that call for love, and moments that call for understanding, moments that call for educating. Because this entire interaction, if we're going to be honest, and also how the person who allegedly called out Alissa carried on afterwards, it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool. And like I said, trust me, there is a time and place to call out colorism, featureism, body stand. Like, there's a time and place to call all those things out. But if we're going to be quite honest, the person who started this conversation with an attitude of not actually trying to have a conversation, but an attitude of being accusatory, right? Because also, let's talk about this. Let's get into it. What is rebranding as a human being? Like, as a human being, what do you mean you are rebranding yourself? As a human being, how do you find yourself saying another human being is rebranding themselves? Yes, I understand that YouTubers, of course, the brand, right, is them, is themselves, the person. Like, YouTube is the business of commodifying oneself. Absolutely, totally get that. But let's be careful about how we're using that language. Let's not use it so flippantly. And let's not you know what I'm saying? Every time somebody tries something new or gets into something, let's not call it an individual's rebrand. Maybe they just have a new interest, right? Or maybe they're just showing us one of their new interests, because none of us know Alissa. Alissa could have been really getting heavy into her fitness journey. And by the time that she came to YouTube to start talking about her fitness journey and came to Twitter and came to Instagram, it could have been a whole year later, because that's when she felt comfortable for her body. And then what's so also like, perplexing to me is, we talk about having this body positivity movement. And I know there's a lot of politics there about the body positivity movement, but let's just, at the base of its level, all of us should feel comfortable enough to love our bodies the way that they are, right? Right. And when we start to notice that we are no longer comfortable in our bodies, before we start to go doing things to change our bodies in any way, we need to first interrogate, why do I want to change anything about my body, right? Where's that feeling coming from? Do I want to honor that feeling by engaging in behaviors and activities that are going to change my body? Am I comfortable with engaging in those behaviors and activities that are going to change my body? And am I comfortable with where these feelings are coming from? Now, you can answer yes to all those questions. Then you go, hey, you do whatever you got to do. If that's get in the gym, if that's get the BBL, you go ahead and do whatever you need to do to make you feel comfortable in your body. But always do some self-interrogative work. Always do some self-investigation before you move forward in that. And I'm quite sure Alissa did plenty of self-investigation and self-interrogation about why she even wanted to get in the gym and start working on her body in that way. And I would say this too, if we want to talk about people being irresponsible with their platforms, especially when it comes to like fitness, and we're trying to make sure that Black and brown girls don't feel like they have to fit a certain type of look and aesthetic with their bodies. If we're going to have that conversation, Alissa is somebody who has been very, 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 very thoughtful and careful and intentional about the language she uses around her fitness journey, goals, behaviors, and activities. She has always been. She leads her conversation about fitness with, this is about getting stronger. This is about building up my strength. This is about bettering my stamina. Okay? This is about my body feeling better. She always leads with, it's about how my body is feeling. It's not about so much how my body is looking. How my body is looking is a benefit of how my body is feeling. And we don't get many, you could say, fitness influencers or whatever, right, who are more focused on leading the conversation in that way. So I just really felt that it was very out of place to allegedly call Alissa out for fat phobic behavior. Someone else wanting to care for their body does not make them inherently fat phobic. Now, someone saying they want to care about their body in a certain way so they don't get fat or so they don't look like a fat person. Now, that is fat phobic behavior. Let's say, okay, well, wait a minute. You're not trying to get fit and get in the gym just to keep yourself healthy. You are specifically not trying to look like this or that because you feel like if you get read as fat, now you'll be treated lesser or whatever. Okay. That is you being able to acknowledge and identify fat phobia, and that is you playing into it. But Alissa has never done that. We have no evidence. That's what I'm saying. We have no evidence of Alissa ever engaging in that behavior or that language or conversations like that. And so when you look back at how this person allegedly is calling out Alissa, it's like, okay, wait a minute. So you do not like that Alissa's content now pretty much solely focuses on being in the gym and getting fit. And so you are reading that as fat phobic, even though Alissa has never been talking about losing weight. You know what I'm saying? Losing weight, or like, that's never been the conversation. The conversation's always been, I'm trying to get stronger. I'm trying to feel better. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. There was no evidence. And that's what I also don't like. That's what I'm saying. Like, why do black people do this? Now, I'm fine. If you have evidence, baby, you go ahead and you show us that evidence and you tell us, look, the reason why I want to call this person out for these behaviors is because they have said X, Y, and Z. They have made a video expressing A, B, and C opinions, and they have made posts displaying harmful behaviors to the community in which I belong in. So that's why I want to go ahead and make my claims. By all means, hear me when I say this. By all means, you go ahead and you do that. But if you do not have the evidence, if you simply just do not like the content that somebody is making, don't engage with it. And it's really that simple. It's that simple. Do not engage with content that you do not like. Offer fair criticism for content that you do like, that you see might be going in a direction that you don't like. Fair. But content you just outright don't like, don't stop. Shh, be quiet. Why are you talking about it? You don't like it. You know, like, it's giving, like, if you don't like it, don't talk about it. So I really want black women to sit down with ourselves and ask ourselves, before we send out the tweet, before we send out the whatever, before we make the video, ask ourselves, is what I'm about to say going to help push a conversation forward? Is what I'm about to say going to do something that could assist in the healing of my community? And is what I'm about to say necessary? Or does this need to just be an inside thought that I have to myself, that I share amongst my close group of friends, and I go on about my business? It's not even about picking your battles. It's about interrogating yourself and figuring out why you even feel that way. Like, the person who's allegedly calling out Alissa, I do wonder if they really sat with themselves first and said, wait, why do I even feel this strongly about what somebody else is doing with their body? Okay? Why do I feel that strongly about what somebody else is doing with their body? Who, might I add, once more, who has not made any statements, claims, content, anything about the reason that they're doing what they're doing with their bodies because they don't want to look like someone like me? Because Alyssa's never done that. Alyssa never set up on Beyonce's internet and said, I'm getting in the gym because I don't want to be fat. Like, that has never been a part of her messaging. And that's because Alissa is so intentional about the language she uses, but also she cares. Like, again, if you look at Alyssa's response to the person allegedly calling her out, even Alyssa's response is very thoughtful and very intentional. And I will say, quite caring about the person that she's responding to, because she understands I have a very large platform, and whatever I say, however I say it, will be read. Maybe like by 75% of people, it'll be read exactly how I want it to be read. But by 25% of people, right, it probably won't get read the way I want it to read. So I have to make sure that, hopefully it just gets read in the best ways possible. Right? I have to be careful with my language, and she's always been. So, y'all, please, let's just ask ourselves what sort of conversations we're having with each other and why we're having them. Because if we're going to keep continuing to try to tear ourselves down, then nobody else has to do it for us. And right now, we're doing too good of a job picking on each other. This is not the battle. Like this, Alissa Ashely wanting to be in the gym is not the battle. It's not the thing we need to be tussling over. I could not care less, right? about someone wanting to get in the gym because they want bigger or smaller thighs, or because they just want to feel not out of breath walking up 5 flights. You know, like, that's it. I can take myself, for example. For most people, you know, I'm like an average size woman. I'm a size 12, 14, you know, for the most part. My weight fluctuates. And now that I'm in my mid-20s, my weight fluctuates even more. The reason why I go, like, here's the thing. If I started like heavy, right, posting gym content, fitness content, somebody could call me out. Somebody could if they wanted to, because somebody did, right? Just now we're talking about it. Somebody could call me out for being fat phobic or playing into ByteDance or whatever. Whole time it's like, babe, I'm in the gym because, first of all, I'm an asthmatic and I get out of breath doing like simple tasks. And so I put myself through workouts to keep up my stamina and to quite literally train my body to just not get out of breath for doing simple things because I'm an asthmatic. That's it. Now, it's a benefit if, you know, my arms get muscle. Like, it's a benefit if my back look like that. Those are all benefits, but I'm not doing it for that. Come on, y'all. We got to start paying attention to the things that are important. Alissa actually wanting to go to the gym and doing some squats. That is not the battle. That is not the battle, y'all. It is not the battle.